Well, it's not exactly the morning of the night before, but it's certainly it's the afternoon of the night before, and of course I'm referring to the um, uh, the match last night against Liverpool. I didn't bother doing a little usual rant that I normally do after matches because I just thought, yeah, what's the point of just get a bit boring now. But anyway, I thought I'd deal specifically, because obviously all you want to know is my opinion. I don't think so on certain points. Now, it begs a question. This really does beg the question more than anything else. Is why is Louis Van Gaal still the manager at Manchester United? Especially that today we've just learned that Steve McLaren has been sacked at Newcastle for having 9 defeats since December. Apparently it's exactly the same amount of defeats that Louis Van Gaal has had, and of course he's still at United. It's going to be really difficult now, I think, United to get any further in this competition, because I don't see, with all the best will in the world, I don't see us putting 3 past Liverpool on Thursday. I really don't. I wish I could see it, but I don't. The whole of that team yesterday that we saw, it was, and the most boring, the most interesting thing is about it now, is that when you get like ex-Liverpool players, who were on the panel last night, Steve McMenamin, who I still find it a bit hard to believe that he actually used to play in the Real Madrid team with the fat Ronaldo, Zinedine Zidane and Figo, amongst others. It's hard to think about, but there you go. He was actually not a bad player to get into that side and to win things as he did. So when even he sounds like he's feeling sorry for Manchester United, the team that they put up last night, and the way we were playing, things have reached an all-time low. Scholes obviously looked absolutely devastated, Rio looked devastated, but even when you get a Liverpool player who's actually feeling sorry for us, things are really bad. And that performance last night, I think, looking at that, and the amount of times I've said this, and it gets a bit boring to say, I said it again, but I used to come out Old Trafford and I used to say to people, the guys on the bus, it appears as though it's a bunch of guys who have been strung on the pitch for the very first time, who've never met each other, and go, well, I'll go left back, I'll go right back, and I'll go up the wing. And so, of course, you can't imagine them to build up any sort of tactical relationship, because, of course, don't know where that guy's going to be. He said he was playing right back, but now he's in the middle, or the guy's in the middle's in the right back, and so I don't know where to put the ball forward. And that is what we were like last night. All of a sudden, it was again of the people looking around. There was just no idea, none of the players seemed to be predicting where another player was going to be. And it was like we just never played, as though they'd met in the tunnel for the very first time. It was extraordinary, and that performance last night was unbelievable. If it wasn't for the fact that we had that goalie, that scoreline was probably going on 6-0. That could have potentially been one of the worst defeats we've ever had against Liverpool. That's how serious that was, and he kept that score looking decent. We had players playing in the most ridiculous positions I've seen, and of course in the second half he went to play 3 in the back, so it was a bit odd, because we had Blind on the left, and then in front of Blind was Rocco, and in front of Rocco was Memphis. It was really odd, and even with that, at least interchangeable people, we still couldn't get anything, because who wasn't there in the box? Martial was even playing, where Rashford spent most of the first half before he got yanked off playing in right back. It's just so many people playing in ridiculous positions. Don't even get me started on Fellaini, because we all know what I thought about him. It was just really unbelievably awful. And yeah, I know the manager can blame injuries, he's had to bring in players, but honestly, even when he had a fully fit squad to pick out, we still played exactly like that, as though players didn't know what positions other players are going to be. It was the same sort of thing, so you can't keep use that as an excuse. It's just I hate to use my favourite word here, but it is just rubbish. And I hate to, say that I raised questions about this manager a long, long time ago. But yes, I did. Yes, I did. I raised it. When was it? August 2014. He'd only been in the job a number of weeks, and I already thought there was a problems ahead. And in January, January 2015, when I did an update after a really bad Christmas period, I was absolutely convinced he wasn't the man for the job, despite what's happened since. Nothing's changed my opinion. It does seem to have a good run. We'll have a couple of days, and everybody's going, oh yeah, maybe it can work, and then all of a sudden it all goes tits up all over again, and that's what he's like. United seem to do well and then just go back to being shit. Memphis, right? Memphis, that's interesting. Memphis, the player, because I've not liked him probably since day one. To me, he's just like I know he's young, whatever, but I've just not liked his lack of. I don't know what way to describe Memphis. I've been told, oh, he'll come good, and then of course he had 2 games where he looked phenomenally brilliant, and since those 2 games, I think we've had 3 games since then, he's looked gone back to the Memphis we all love and hate. Well, hate's a strong word, but the guy's really disappointed at us since he signed for us, and I said at the time, in Memphis's case, I think he could potentially be the new Nani. Nani was another player that all of a sudden, in like 2 games, he looked, world class. He looked absolutely brilliant, and then he'd just go back to being completely rank rotten. And Memphis may prove me wrong, but I'm still not changing my opinion on that one. And you just look through all the squad, you look at all the players that Van Gaal's brought in, and we have, honestly, I'm not joking about this, it's probably one of the, despite all the people telling me it's the manager's fault, you've got to look at the quality on the pitch. You've got to look at plays. It doesn't matter what the philosophy is, it doesn't matter what tactical sense that the manager's got or how he's going on to play. When you're a football player and you can't pass a ball with the same colour shirt as you, 10 foot, it doesn't matter what the philosophy is. It means you're not good enough. When you're in defence and you're booting the ball, like 3 foot when you should be smashing out 60 foot, when you can't put in a cross, when you're shooting like a banana the wrong way for a banana, it's all these things it comes down to individual players. A lot of the problems that we have come to individual errors. A lot of the players we've got in that team, in that squad at the moment are just not good enough. They just are not good enough. They might have been classed at some point. They come to end of the career. In some cases, some guys just shouldn't even be playing for Manchester United. And there's so many times like Ferdinand's gone out. Look at all the players we got rid of. Yes, at the time I was absolutely adamant that they should have got rid of so many players. It's on record that I've said it. I've said it so many times over the few years. He's got to go. Because in my mind they were no longer good enough to play for United. But unbelievably, I wish they'd stayed, because the players have come in who we've paid big bucks for aren't as good or any better than the ones we've let go. We should have just stayed them, because at least they knew how to play the United way and could remember the times when we played particularly well. You've got these guys at the moment who don't seem to have any concept of what United's all about, and which was the problem I had with LVG in the beginning. I just thought he never got the club. I just thought this guy doesn't understand what it's like to be the manager of this club, and that's what really bothered me early doors, and my view of that has just been confirmed time and time again. So, getting back to the original question, which should be in the video title somewhere, is why hasn't LVG been sacked yet? Right, it's quite simply all about money. Well, this is my opinion anyway. Okay, the way to view this is think about Elvis. Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll. Yeah, Elvis Presley was the king of rock and roll. He literally inspired everybody in the 60s or late 50s to pick up a guitar or to form a band or to emulate this man. He influenced the Beatles, he influenced everybody. And people looked at him, looked what he did, and they inspired them to become performers. And he was very good at what he did, and he had continued success and record sales, and he was the king until he sadly died. When he died, he was on on the way out, and he'd let his performances drop, unfortunately, and eventually it was no surprise that eventually he died on the throne, which was a bit ironic, being known as the king. It was a bit similar to United, because obviously, lots of players and other managers have been inspired by United, saying that's the way I want us to play our football. Not the United now, of course, but the United, as we refer to, playing in the Busby way. And then successive managers have tried to continue that playing style. Probably the next person who really got it right was probably Ferguson. And yeah, we were the kings. We were the kings of of England and of Europe at times. We were unplayable. We were just fantastic to watch. Fantastic performances by those players. Now, unfortunately, of course, that doesn't happen anymore. We're a bit like Elvis. We've suddenly gone down a steady spiral of performances being under par, and literally at the moment we could class it as being dead in our knees. And Elvis, ironically, although he's dead and has been dead for nearly 40 years, Elvis. Not the man, but Elvis, the name, Elvis, the branding, is immensely successful. Elvis now is more successful, although he doesn't know it, of course, than he ever was when he was alive, because people have marketed Elvis since he died, because there was still lots of money to get out of brand Elvis. And funny enough, you can still see Elvis performing. Yes, you can go along, he still packs out houses all around the world. You can see Elvis performing, and you can see people who played along with Elvis in the performances in the glory years, and then you can go and see Elvis on DVD and screen, and you get the same performers playing along with Elvis, and you can go and see Elvis, but it's not really Elvis, is it? So you can still see the performances of Elvis, but it's just like the dying embers of a once bright fire. But still, brand Elvis is huge. She's bringing in a lot of money to a lot of people who control that brand. Now, this is similar to United, because United, the brand Manchester United is so successful now due to the people who run this club. It's unbelievable. It is unfortunately all about the branding. Off the field, we are really successful commercially. It's unbelievable. United are raking in so much money. Of course, unfortunately, a lot of the money is going to overpaid players and the people who are trying to administer the club, and also the pay off the debts that they use to the owners to buy the club in the first place. But this is the point. The point of the matter is that as long as United are doing well off the pitch, the owners of the club aren't particularly bothered about what's happening on the pitch. And that's proof is shown in the way that Moyes got sacked, because he only got sacked to the point where we couldn't be in the Champions League anymore. And the next thing is, it's mathematically impossible for us in the Champions League, sack the manager. And that's why LVG is still on manager, because it's still mathematically possible for us, as we know, for us to get in the Champions League. It's all about the Champions League. It's all about them being able to go to sponsors and people to build up these corporate relationships with, and to get these billion-dollar deals with these companies, advertise our product, to then say, oh, by the way, we're in the Champions League next season, we're in the European elite, and so people say, well, that's good, because my logo is going to be seen all over the world when we play in these high-class Champions League matches. That's all they're interested in. They just want us to be in that league. And it's just all about the Champions League. It's all about that top fourth place. It's all about the money that generates in for the owners, the club. They're not interested in the performance on the pitch. They're not interested if we go at the FA Cup in the first round. They're not interested in that competition. They're not interested in the League Cup if we go in the first round. Not interested in that either. They're not particularly interested in the Europa League either. They're just interested that we get in that Champions League. They don't care if we never win the league ever again or become a close second or third. As long as we're fourth, as long as we're in, that's all they're interested in. They're not interested in the performance on the pitch, of our results, of the fans' displeasure, of the manager, of our performances, or anything. They're not interested. So that's why LVG is still there. Because the owners of the club are quite happy that we're just, we're still contending for the fourth place. They're not interested. And that's why he's still there. That's why I thought, when did I think it? I said for a surety in Christmas he'd be sacked. I said he's going to go because the performances were just a new low of shitness. I said he's got to go. And Chris said to me on the way back, never going to happen. It'll be when we can't get into the Champions League and go, no, Chris, he's got to go. But he's getting booed every single game. No manager in the history of even clubs going round and getting so much booing can still stay in their job. It's impossible. He never went in Christmas, and I thought, well, he's definitely going to go in the new year. No doubt he is going to go in the new year. New Year came and it went, and now we're into March, and he's still a manager, and we're still getting ridiculous results, getting beat by that mob over the weekend. First time in 32 years they've beaten us at their ground. Getting beat at Sunderland. Don't stop me in Mitchy Titchy, and all the result last night. The performances, the results have been absolutely shocking, regardless of whether we have got fit players out or we've got the second string or the third string team. It's just awful. It's awful football, and yet the owners don't care because we're still potentially to get into that top four. So that's why he's still there, boys and girls. The only way he's going to go is at the moment I think it becomes impossible for us to get into fourth, then it's like, oh well, we're going to have to get somebody else in. So that's why he's still there. They're not interested in the football, and this potentially is going to be the same thing that's going to happen maybe year after year, season after season, while our current owners are the owners of our club. Mourinho apparently has said today that he has a new job in July. Yeah, at the moment, honestly, if he comes to United, hopefully he will change the club around. But you can just see, unfortunately, that from the top down, there's massive problems at United, and while those people are still control their club, we're not going to see improvements. We were so lucky to have Ferguson, but I think he then saw the writing on the wall himself. But we were lucky to have him when he had him, and he did great things with the club. But potentially, we're just looking at memories now of that, and honestly, I'm just at a point now where I'm just losing the will to live. I'm supposed to be going on Sunday. West Ham, beforehand when we got West Ham at home in the FA Cup, you'd be going this, oh yes, straight through to the next round. Not a chance now. I'm thinking now on Sunday, Struth, we're going to go out the FA Cup. Of course, the FA Cup that the owners don't really care about anyway. Van Gaal actually would like to win the FA Cup because it's obviously something he's never won. And he's it's respected around the world, apart from our owners who still can't understand why players don't pick up the ball and run up and down the pitch with it and wear helmets. But anyway, we're playing the FA Cup on the Sunday. I looking at West Ham, and I watched them playing recently. What a great team. They've got some great players, and I really think, to be honest with you, I hate to be pessimistic here, but if you're a betting man, you're putting United going out. Comes that to be out the FA Cup, being out the League Cup, and then of course we're going to play the Europa League on Thursday. If you're a betting man, you can't see United's coming through. You can see Liverpool going through. So that then would just put us just in one competition, and we're not in that competition. That'd be just the competition to get into fourth place, because in other words, then we cannot win a trophy. We're not going to win the league. And it just comes to that, trying to get to this coveted fourth place, and that's it. And that's all it is with this club at the moment, just getting to fourth place. And for Manchester United, the history we've got, it's just not good enough. And yet, that's all the owners expect our manager to do. And while we've had these great times with Ferguson, who has actually, really achieved a lot with some, at the end, some bit mediocre players, to be honest with you. But when you look back to the times when we had Tevez, we had Rooney, we had Ronaldo, we had Berbatov playing with us, and we had Vidic and Ferdinand and Evra on the left, you just look at it now and you think, flipping it, if we had that team now, we would have won that league probably Boxing Day, because everybody else hasn't been particularly good at all. And it's the only reason why we're sixth. It's because a lot of them have been fannying around, while we've just decided to just completely fanny around. So anyway, that's the end of today's rant. I will obviously be back on Sunday, back at Old Trafford, but I'm not looking forward to it, and I'm glad I never got a ticket. I couldn't afford it to go into Anfield last night, because it would have been a complete waste of time and a massive waste of money. And that's the thing, that the away fans, I know Chris has been probably to every away game this season. The amount of money he's spent watching United to see some of the most direst performance is unbelievable. I actually said to him last night, Chris, there's a steady constant with our performances away from home. It's you and LVG. One of you's got to go. And actually looks like it might be Chris. So anyway, there you go. Enjoy the rest of, it's the start of the weekend. Of course, it's Friday. So yeah, well, the weekend starts at 5 o'clock this afternoon. But that anyway answers the burning question of why LVG is still manager at Old Trafford. And yes, potentially we can still to the end of this season, if we're still jockeying for that fourth place, we could still have him here or join the delight of the philosophy till the end of the season. Oh, I look forward to so much. Things can only get better, but will they? Anyway, bye bye.